The sun was setting earlier, now that December had arrived. Katsumi Nakase... I don't recognize your name. Wait, is that... Oh, wait! Is one of the names a pseudonym name? And this is her real name? She's either Fubuki or Kaede. I think I called her Kaede at the end of the previous episode, so that must be Kaede's real name. Katsumi Nakase was surprised by how quickly it got dark while she was out rummaging through the cosplay shops. What is cosplay, you might ask? Well, cosplay is short for costume play, the act of dressing up in a costume. In Japan, cosplay refers to dressing up as a character from an anime or a manga, and people who cosplay are called cosplayers, or sometimes just players. Most cosplay costumes are handmade, and that's cosplay. The wheeled suitcase on the ground next to her felt heavy. She'd done her best to jam everything she'd bought today inside, and it was bursting at the seams. Still, spending a whole day shopping with her cosplay friends was a lot of fun. She felt tired, but it was a good tired. Her footsteps were light as she walked back to the station. No matter how many times I see Mayuri, she'll always be adorable. Oh wait. Oh fuck. She's Fubuki. I thought she was talking to someone else, but no, we're Fubuki. We're not Kaede, we're Fubuki. Okay. Okay. Well, I messed up last episode. I'm sorry, Fubuki. So, Natsume's nickname is Fubuki then?
ふぶきちゃんのおかげでまゆしーも楽しくお買い物できたよ。付き合ってくれてありがとう。まゆしーのためならお茶の子さいさいだって。
Fubuki tried to grab her friend, Mayuri Shina, for a hug. Mayuri dodged out of the way. Mayuri may have looked like an airhead, but she was actually quite athletic. Fubuki, by the way, was Katsumi Nakase's cosplay name. Ah. Yeah, there's cosplay names. I spaced for a second because I was confused by the term cosplay name, but no, that exists. It's like a pseudonym. Woo! Alright. Aww. Okay. Yep. I remember you now. I thought your name was Kaede, but no, I mixed you up with Kaede. You're Fubuki. You're Fubuki, and the other girl's Kaede. We're gonna see her soon. Katsumi was in her second year of high school. She and Mayuri were the same age, but were the total opposites. Katsumi was boyish and athletic, and when she cosplayed as a male character, she attracted more female Kameko than male ones. What is Kameko? Kameko, those who appear in mass at cosplay and anime events, and use expensive SLR cameras nice. to take pictures of sketchy-clad cosplayers. The so-called low-anglers, men who take upskirt pictures of cosplayers in Akihabara and Akamima, are not considered true Kameko. A true Kameko must be a gentleman at all times. Kameko. I actually never seen that term before, so, yeah, I just learned something. There she is. So I think, the one with the black hair is, Kaede? I don't know. Yeah, the girl with the black hair, I thought she was Fubuki, but no, I'm wrong. She is Kaede? I don't know. Also, what is Kamima? Kamima, fictional. Kamagiga Market, an otaku festival held every year in August and December at Tokyo Big Sight. Kamima. The four friends had gone to cosplay shops along Yugawaya, Maiden's Road, and Tokyo Hands in Ikebukuro, then moved to Akihabara and visited several more. Yugawaya, Maiden's Road, and Tokyo Hands. What are those? Tokyo Hands, fictional, a home improvement chain based out of Tokyo, but unlike most such stores, which have large buildings outside the city centers, Tokyo Hands has many department store-style buildings located around major train stations. Tokyo Hands stores also carry a wide variety of products, from professional-grade tools and materials to fishing and variety goods. Tokyo Hands. Maiden's Road, Otaku. The nickname of a street near the east exit of Ikebukuro Station, it has many doujinshi and anime merchandise stores for female-oriented anime, and is known as a mecca for female otaku. Maiden's Road. Yugawaya, fictional, a large specialty store founded over 60 years ago that sells craft and hobby supplies, fabric, and trinkets. There are over 60 of them, mostly in eastern Japan, but also all around the country. Yugawaya. That was Tokyo's Hands, Maiden's Road, and Yugawaya. Yugawaya. This was all part of their final preparations for Winter Kamima.
そうは言っても
She's Kaede.
作るのはほとんどまゆりちゃんだよ
Alright, that's Kaede. That's Kaede.
あんまり無理しないでねまゆりちゃん
Kaede sounded a little worried. Her real name was Kaede Kurashima, and she used her real name as her cosplay pseudonym. She was 3 years older than Katsumi and in college. Kaede was extremely feminine, and her measurements were just like the ones magazine models claim to have, but she was very shy. People had tried many times to persuade her to enter the pageant at her college, but she'd always refused, saying normal events are kind of scary. But even so, cosplaying at Kamima with the rest of them was something she looked forward to.
だったらこの際だからまゆりちゃんを手伝ってみんなで衣装作りはしない
Amayuki proposed. She had very noble, elegant features, but the rest of her was easygoing and laid back. Though Kasumi was a fellow girl, she still thought Amayuki was beautiful. Even her light blue penetrated eyes lacked the arrogance that beautiful women usually possessed. They were filled with, instead, a friendly light. Her real name was Yuki Amane. Huh. I feel there's a similarity with someone else's name here. She was a senior at Meiji University, and in the same club as Kaede, she was the oldest of the four. She'd once tried to give up cosplay and focus on job hunting. After just 6 months, she'd given up on work and gone back to costuming. Job hunting. What is job hunting? When an unemployed person is seeking employment, often used to refer to college kids looking for their first real career-oriented job. I'm gonna reread that, I'm sorry. Often used to refer to college kids looking for their first real career-oriented job. Job hunting. I'm gonna have to do that sometime soon. Since then, she'd been spending more time with Katsume and the others.
そんなお手伝いしてもらうなんて悪いよ
Everyone smiled at her, but Mayuri quickly shook her head.
今日だって材料代を半分以上も肩代わりしてもらっちゃったでしょマユシーはそれだけで本当に嬉しかったから私たちの衣装を作ってくれるんだから出さない方が申し訳ないよ それに私、まゆりちゃんみたいに素敵な衣装を自分でも作ってみたいなってずっと思ってたの。まゆしーの衣装ってクオリティ高いもんね。ほんと感謝してるんだからね。まゆりちゃん、ぜひ手伝わせてほしいな。じゃあみんなで作ろう。
Katsumi knew that it made Mayuri really happy when someone praised her cosplay outfits.
でもそれとは別にね、まゆしーはみんなにお願いしたいことがあったのです。お願い？実は
Mary told them about an event that had quickly become a mainstay of the Japanese holiday year.
クリスマスパーティーを開くから、ゆきさんも楓さんもふぶきちゃんもぜひ来てほしいなって。クリスマスパーティーか。どうかな。私行きたい。
Katsumi's only plan for Christmas Eve was dinner with her family, so she raised her hand instantly. None of her friends at school wanted to do anything that night. She'd been a little put out about that, since it meant they all had boyfriends.
私も大丈夫だよ。
Kaede also nodded, but Yuki seemed a little hesitant.
私はどうしようかな。もしかして戦略があるの？そりゃゆきさんほどの美貌の持ち主ならイブのデートに誘ってくる男子は山ほどいるでしょう。そんなことないよ。そうなの？だったら私がほっときません。ふぶきちゃんとクリスマスにデートできるなら他のどんな予定よりも優先しちゃう。ゆきさんラボー。ふぶきちゃんはまゆりちゃん一筋じゃなかったの？まゆしーだって楓ちゃんだって大好きだぜ。
Katsumi quickly jumped over to Kaede and gave her a big hug. Kaede was soft and smelled good, and enduring this sort of sexual harassment was nothing new for her.
それでね、ゆきさん。今度、まゆしーに美味しいキッシュの作り方を教えてくれないかな。
Quiche! Is this how you pronounce quiche?
Quiche.
What is a quiche, by the way? Quiche. A traditional French dish made by filling a pie crust with cream, cheese, eggs, meat, and vegetables, then cooking it to a flaky golden brown. Quiche. Yuki was an excellent chef, and had been teaching Mayuri a lot lately. Both Katsumi and Kaede would also occasionally participate in what they called Yuki Amane's cooking lessons.
いいよ。何のキッシュがいい？まゆしーはほうれん草とマッシュルームがいいな。ハムとトマトとベーコンも美味しいよ。
You lost me on tomato.
想像しただけでよだれが。わあ、そっか、迷っちゃうのです。それじゃあ両方教えてあげる。本当？そうだよね。いろんな味があった方がみんなも喜ぶもんね。もしかしてクリスマスパーティー用に？うん、 1ヶ月もないけど、それまでにマスターしたいなって。じゃあ特訓だね。いつにする？明日は？マユシーは大丈夫。
Katsumi went over her schedule in her head.
明日か。私、友達と約束が。私はバイト。
Katsumi really wanted to go, so she was pretty disappointed. She would have loved the chance to eat one of Yuki's good quiche. Not quiche. Quiche. Damn it! She would have loved the chance to eat one of Yuki's good quiches. Oh. As she thought about the quiche, her stomach began to rumble. It was about time for dinner. Yuki and Mayuri worked out the time and place for their meetup.
場所は私の下宿先だとちょっと遠いから。ラボはどうかな？いいよ。頑張って作り方覚えるぞ。楽しいパーティーになるといいね。まゆし、サンタさんの衣装を作るからみんな着てくれる？込み物分の他にさらに作るんだ。まゆりちゃん、気合入ってるね。まゆしはやる気満々だよ。
Mayuri posed like she was cheering.
サンタ服ならかわいいミニスカートのやつがいいな。白のニーソに赤いブーツとか合わせて。楓ちゃんはいいけど、私そういうの似合うかな。
Katsumi spoke to Mayuri and Yuki without any confidence in her voice.
本当は可愛い服の方が好きなくせに。
There was nothing Katsumi could say. She was right. It bothered Katsumi a lot that she looked like a boy. And she knew that sort of clothing didn't look right on her. Still, at heart, she was a young girl, and she wanted to wear cute clothes.
任せて。まゆし、ふぶきちゃんに似合うのちゃんと作るから。おお、さすが俺の嫁。結婚して。ふぶきちゃん、調子いいんだから。ダルくんみたいなこと言っちゃダメだよ。あの変態紳士さんと一緒にされるなんてショックかも。ちなみにまゆりちゃんも一緒に着るんだよね、サンタさんの衣装。じゃなくって可愛いんだからもっとコスしようよ。でもまゆしは作るの専門だから。意義あり。そんなのもったいないです。もう、ふぶきちゃんまで。それに岡部さんもまゆりちゃんの素敵な姿見たいんじゃないかな。オカリ
ン Mayuri made a weird noise as soon as she heard that name.
オカリンさん？ああ、マユシーの彼氏ね。
Oh fuck, I forgot how depressing Okabe looks! Wait, no, why am I laughing? Katsumi had met him many times. He was tall, but always looked pale and thin, and whenever he laughed, he seemed kinda sad. But from what Mayuri said, until just a half a year ago, he'd been a totally different person, She said he was a haughty and arrogant, but also kind, and a great leader. Mayuri was known to let her emotions influence her judgment, so Katsumi didn't know how much of that description was accurate. Mayuri started to freak out even more after hearing the word boyfriend.
あのね、吹雪ちゃん。オカリンとマユシーはそういうのじゃないよ。またまた。
Yuki and Kaede weren't buying it either. Honestly, Ocarina and Mayuri seemed more like an old wedded couple that had been together for years than boyfriend and girlfriend.
本当だよ。だってオカリンには他に好きな人がいるのです。
Mayuri sounded totally unconcerned, which made Katsumi even more surprised.
そうなの？本当に？うん。
Who could have guessed? It was Yuki, the eldest, who spoke first.
ごめんね。なんか余計なこと言っちゃった。マユシーとオカリンは幼馴染で仲良しさんっていうだけだから大丈夫だよ。そう。
Mayuri smiled, seemed very sad to Katsumi. She felt the sudden impulse to give her schoolmate a hug.
それより。
Mayuri smiled and walked over to Yuki, as if to blow away the awkwardness.
ねえ、ユキさんは？私？さっきの話、やっぱりクリスマスは彼氏さんと過ごすのかなって。本当にいないってば。そう？みんな誤解してるよ。私そんなにモテないし、ここだけの話、年齢と彼氏いない歴が一緒だもの。
First Mayuri, then Yuki. Katsumi was stunned.
そうなんですか？そこまで驚かれるなんて。じゃあ、ユキさん、
Mayuri started to fidget.
ダルくんなんてどうかな？星田さん？また何を言い出すの、マユシ。橋田さんは変態紳士なんだよ。ユキさんがどこかにかけられちゃう。
The man that Kasumi and Kaede were insulting was Itaru Hashida, a college student and a member of Mayuri's club. He was a hardcore otaku, one of the hybrid types, who said that he enjoyed both 2- and 3-dimensional girls. He's advanced! He's advanced! Whoa. And, like Kasumi had said, he was a perverted gentleman. He would say perverse things all day, without the slightest shame. Whenever you told him he was a pervert, he would say, "No! I am a perverted gentleman!" He was a dangerous guy. But Yuki didn't seem bothered. She actually looked a little sad.
橋田さんはいい人だけど、なんていうか、私みたいな子、あんまり好きじゃないんだと思う。
Mayuri was shocked, far above and beyond her usual limit. She was so surprised. She let go of her suitcase's handle and let it fall to the ground. And instead of picking it up, she started talking frantically.
そんなことないよ。ダルくんはね、ユキさんに萌え萌えキューンだよ。きっとそうだよ。マユシーが保証します。夏コミまで初めて会った時もそんな感じだったでしょ。
Yuki had met Mayuri 4 months ago at Summer Kamima. Katsumi and Kaede had come wearing outfits Mayuri made. Kaede found Yuki at the convention hall, all by herself, and they met up. Afterward, they all got to a party where she'd met Mayuri's friend Itaru Hashida. Katsumi had definitely witnessed Yuki and Itaru having a friendly conversation. Ever since then, Yuki and Mayuri and Daru had become friends, and Yuki had started going to Mayuri's club, the Future Gadget Laboratory. In other words, Yuki and Itaru had been talking ever since Summer Kamima. But still, Yuki chuckled sadly and shook her head.
見てればわかるよ。なんとなく避けられてるなって。クリスマスパーティーも、だから私は行かない方がいいんじゃないかなって思って。橋田さんはもっとこう妹系の女の子がタイプじゃないのかな。しかもものすごく気が強くてね、お兄ちゃんを尻に敷いちゃうような妹。例えば鈴葉さんみたいな感じ。それは
For some reason, Mayuri looked like she was about to cry. She seemed to want to say something, but couldn't bring herself to. Her lips were quivering.
まゆりちゃん？なんでもないのです。
Oh, Mayuri. But it certainly didn't look like nothing. Katsumi couldn't bear to watch her anymore. And so she gave in to her impulses.
まゆし、そんな顔しないで。まゆしは笑ってる時が一番可愛いんだから。ねえ、ほらほら、笑わないとくすぐっちゃうぞ。こちょこちょこちょこちょこちょ。
Katsumi snuck behind Mayuri and started to tickle under her arms.
観念した？もう、ぶきちゃんは意地悪さんだ。まゆし、かわいすぎ。
Whoa! Mayuri was laughing so hard she was crying. And this time, Katsumi succeeded in giving her a hug. Even though they were in public, she started rubbing her cheek against hers.
まゆし、好きだよ。大好き。ちょっと、ぶきちゃん。このまま家に持って帰って、ずっとペロペロしたい。
Oh. Okay, whoa. Okay. I'm gonna pause from the second half. The second half, she had me in the first half.
それは困るよ。困ってもいいから結婚してくれ。無理だってば。
Mayuri tried to run away, but Fubuki grabbed her and started to kiss her all over. After harassing Mayuri.
それはマユシーのセリフだよ。
In the end, Katsumi kept clinging to Mayuri until they reached the station. She felt a lot better, but catching Mayuri when she tried to escape used up a lot of energy. Either way, now that she was satisfied... Ooh. What? Huh? She shuddered and turned back towards Mayuri as an image came into her mind from out of nowhere.
ねえ、マユシ。なーに？冬コミマ、一緒にコスしようね。この前話したよ。冬コミマはね、マユシーは作る方に専念します。
Does Fubuki have reading Steiner? Wait, what?
それでもいいからさ、とにかく冬コミマもこの4人で絶対一緒に参加しようね。当たり前だよ。そのために今日みんなで買い物したんだよ。だよね。でも約束だよ。
Okay, I don't remember this in the anime. I don't remember this in the Steins Gate Zero anime. Holy crap!
約束。
Mayuri and Yuki split up with them in front of the station, since they were taking a different train.
それじゃあね。おやすみなさい。まゆりちゃん、ゆきさん。またね。てってれー。バイバーイ。
Katsumi stood still and watched the two of them until they were out of sight. She felt like she was about to cry and looked up to stop the tears from falling.
ふぶきちゃん。
Kaede was sitting next to her, looking worried.
どうしたの？ごめん、なんでもない。なんでもなくないよ。もしかしてまゆりちゃんがどうかしたの？お願い、話して。
Even after Kaede asked, Katsumi wasn't sure she should tell her. There was no way she believed it anyway.
今日のふぶきちゃん、いつもよりテンション高かった。すごく無理してる感じがしたもの。気づいてたんだ。気づくよ。
Katsumi and Kaede had known each other for 2 years. Since their ages were so different, they treated each other like an older and younger sister. So at times like this, Kaede was really sharp. Kaede didn't talk much, but that meant she paid a lot of attention to the people around her. Part of it was also that Katsumi wasn't good at hiding things. She just couldn't lie to Kaede, no matter what. She gave up and decided to say it.
マユシーがね。死んじゃうんだ。え？何？ こと？
Katsumi remembered the nightmares, and the things she kept seeing no matter how much she didn't want to.
夢を見るんだよ。夢？夏ぐらいからかな。毎日夢の中でマユシーが死んで、その度に私や楓ちゃんは泣いて。でもどうすることもできなくて。夕べ見た夢なんか最悪だった。私たちの目の前で突然マユシーが倒れて動かなくなっちゃうの。そのマユシーをね、オカリンさんが悲鳴を上げながら抱きしめて大きな声で叫んでて。ねえ、どうしちゃったんだろう私。なんでこんな夢ばっかり。落ち着いて、ふぶきちゃん。多分疲れてるせいよ。そうかな。そうなのかな。だってまゆりちゃん、今日もすごく元気だったでしょ。
Kaede gave Katsumi a gentle shoulder hug.
だから大丈夫。私やだよ、マユシーが死んだりしたら。そんなことありえないわ。絶対に絶対よ。
Kaede's words made Katsumi calm down a little. She was glad to have an older friend like this.
とにかく気のせいよ。そんな悪いこと起きるはずがないでしょ。
Her hand squeezed Katsumi's shoulder tightly. Being held like this made Katsumi feel a lot better.
ごめんね、変なこと言って。
But that night, she had the nightmares again. Are we gonna see them? No, we're Suzuha now. Suzuha Amane was about to run out of patience. The cause was the young man in the room with her, her father, Itaru Hashida, aka Daru. His massively obese body was leaning forward over a computer monitor, and he had a dopey grin on his face. He'd finally gotten up around 11 a.m., gulped down 3 cups of instant ramen, and was now surfing the internet. Normies must die, P. Parthenon. What are these two? I don't know. Parthenon. Fictional. A female freelance illustrator. She primarily does illustrations for Nikonia video and Vocalo songs. And is mostly popular with young women. I don't know, Vocalo. Oh man. Normies must die, P. A Vocalo producer. 2 of his videos have exceeded over 1 million views. Probably for the Wait a second. No, this is not. Are they actually referencing? No way, no. There's no way they're being referenced. There's no way There's no way. There's no way. Okay. I need to look this up real quick. I'm sorry, everyone. Okay. Are they doing a joke? There's no way this is the reference. Hold up. Let me double check on the name to see the similarity. Hold up. I need to double check something. Okay. What's his name? He's a Vocaloid producer. Piccolino P. Oh God! Actually, I think a lot of Vocaloid producers might end their name with P. And wait, why did they do that again? Hold up. This is a video partially about Vocaloid now, I guess. Okay, why Vocaloid artists end their name with P? Okay, hold up. Examples? No. What's the meaning? P actually means minus P, like an honorific. Oh, it's an honorific? No, okay, I think they're just doing a reference to Vocaloid producers and is this slightly mean-spirited of a joke? I don't know. His songs are a source of support for viewers in similar dire straits. His songs always feature images by the same illustrator, Parthenon, and her cute illustrations are another source of popularity. Is this a mean-spirited joke towards Vocaloid producers? I'm gonna say no to be safe. I love Vocaloid music videos, like I watch a lot of them, so yeah. Oh man, I really want to do, at some point in the future I might do a video about Vocaloid. Yeah, I'm gonna do a video about Vocaloid in the future because I do like Vocaloid.
つうか、リア充メッセーとか名乗ってる本人がリア充じゃん。リアルに嫁いるとか、汚すぎる。ぐぬぬぬぬ、ぼっちの味方だと思ってたのに。こんなん戦争だろ。炎上必至だろ。うお、と思ったら、もうアットちゃんもツイパも炎上してた件について。
Tweeter? What's a tweeter? Fictional. The name of a microblogging software app. Allows for tweets up to 140 characters in length. Tweets from other users you follow can be viewed in a timeline, allowing for it to be used as a chat program. And it's hell on earth. Tweeter.
僕としたことが出遅れた。これまでの流れをちゃんとチェックしないと。
父さん。
はい。
That's what Suzuha called her father. It's who he was, after all. So there was nothing else to call him. Suzuha was a time traveler from the year 2036. And 7 years from now, he would become her father.
いい加減にしなよ。一日中ゴロゴロして食べるかネットを見るかゲームをしてるかばっかり。即席麺やお菓子ばかり食べてると体に病変を生じるって警告しても治そうともしない。
In fact, his PC desk was covered with snacks. She cleaned it regularly, but it never seemed to make a difference.
運動だってしろって言ってるのに全然しない。
Suzuha realized she was complaining more than usual, but she had to say it anyway.
そんなんじゃ将来。
And then, she realized that Itaru wasn't even listening to her. His eyes were fixed on the computer monitor. He moved his mouse out of sight, but she could still hear him clicking it.
話を聞きなさい。
Suzuha approached her father from behind and put the hairspray can she'd been hiding up to his neck. Itaru seemed to think it was a gun. He stuck his hands up. Threats like this worked. They worked because she told him that she survived the Third World War and the wars and chaos of 2036. And that she was ready to draw a gun and pull the trigger whenever she needed to.
すずは、 やめてくんないと父さん怒っちゃう。
怒られるのは父さんの方。
はい、すみません。でもさ、僕の秘密の仕事知ってるっしょ？あれが結構忙しいんだよ。僕ぐらいのハッカーになると引く手あまたでさ、食事も適当に済ませざるを得ないっつうか、海外のクライアント相手だと時差もあって昼夜逆転しちゃうっつうか。
未来の父さんもそんなことばっかり言って母さんに叱られてた。100歩譲って睡眠周期は仕方ないとしても、これ以上健康を損ねるような食事は許容範囲外。即刻中止すること。いい？
だけど仕事もそうだけどタイムマシンの研究が大変なんだ。癒しが欲しいんだよね僕。
そうやって言い訳してすぐだらけようとする。甘えてるよ父さん。
Susaha was always amazed that her dad had managed to survive the future wars. But since the time machine research would affect the future, and eventually Susaha's very present here, she couldn't tell him to stop. Even after Rintaro Okabe stopped coming to the Future Gadget lab, Itaru had kept working on the time machine all by himself. Susaha never said a word about it. If she did, it might create a time paradox.
タイムマシンを作るのに未来から来たタイムマシンを精査しちゃダメだからね。
She decided to warn him again.
分かってるよそんなこと。でも時々自信なくなるんだよね。僕本当にタイムマシンなんて作るん？
当然だよ。しっかりして。
はい。
Susaha took the hairspray can off his neck.
てっきり銃だと思ったらなんというハッタリ。父さんを騙すなんてひどいよ。
I love that sprite, by the way. I am loving this sprite.
次は本物使うからね。
それマジ勘弁。
Susaha put the can of hairspray back on the shelf. It was something Rintaro Okabe had left here when he lived in the lab. It was still here, since its owner never came back for it.
漫画とかゲームだとさ、父親を叱る娘ってのはもっとこう燃えるんだけどな。鈴葉、ちょっとさ、もうダメだよパパって言ってみてくんない？できれば甘やかすような口調で。なんでもないでござる。
Her dad shrank from Susaha's glare. Susaha sighed loudly and dropped herself on the sofa. She leaned back against the headrest and stared at the ceiling, then closed her eyes.
どうしたん？
なんでも。
隠しても無駄なのだぜ。鈴葉のなんでもないってのは話を聞いてほしいって意味っしょ。ほら、話してみるといいよ。
Daru sounded very serious. Susaha's eyes went wide for a moment, but then she realized.
そのセリフ、この前プレイしてたギャルゲーにあったよね。それでフラグが成立するんだっけ？
What's a flag? Flag. Computer game lingo. A type of foreshadowing that means a common trope is about to occur. For example, flag means that sometime in the future will happen. Death flags and love flags are common examples. And that's a flag. She'd been living here for 3 months. She was starting to learn a little about Akihabara's culture, circa 2010.
父さん、 間違っても私を落とそうとか思わないでよね。
ねえよ、実の娘にそんなことしないって。
本当かな。未来の父さんはちょっと怪しかった。私が思春期になってからもよく一緒にお風呂入ろうって誘われたな。
何それ怖い。
私は軍属だったし、父さんはタイムマシンの開発に追われてたからいつも一緒にいられるわけじゃなかったけど、とにかくベタベタしてきたよ。鬱陶しいくらいにね。
Her dad looked honestly depressed, and she realized that she'd gone too far.
父さんはさ、いつも私に言ってくれてたよ。ここは最低最悪の世界線だけど、私が誕生したことだけは最高だって。私、未来の父さんを失望させたくないんだ。だから、絶対にオカリンおじさんを説得しなきゃ。
大丈夫。失望したりしないって、絶対に。
そうかな。けどね、おじさんは、どうしても話を聞いてくれないよ。このままじゃ、おじさんは過去へ行かない。マキセ・クリスを救出しない。シュタインズゲートにも到達しない。
Steins Gate. That was the name of the mysterious world line her dad had told her about. That was the name of the mysterious world line her dad had told her about in 2036, where World War III might not occur. Leading Rintaro Okabe to that world line was her mission. But right now, it wasn't going well. Suza had come to 2010, and just like the mission had called for, she'd succeeded in sending Rintaro Okabe to July 28th. But then he'd failed. And he wasn't going to try again. Every time they met, she tried to convince him, but who knew if her words were having any effect?
結局、第三次世界大戦に世界線は収束して、大勢の人たちが殺戮される。それを変えるために私は来たのに、何もできない運命なのかな。
Suzaha had something else she had to do here in Akihabara in 2000. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Suzaha had something else she had to do here in Akihabara in December 2010, besides convincing Mitaro Okabe, and it meant she was running around every day. The exhaustion was starting to take its toll on her. During the war, she'd been able to keep herself sharp at all times, and this level of exhaustion wouldn't have meant anything. The relaxed atmosphere of 2010 was actually making her realize how tired she was. She was feeling very sleepy right now, actually. She was surprised at how willing she was to fall asleep in such an undefended position, but she couldn't think she could beat the temptation. And then suddenly, she felt something extremely cold on the back of her neck. She snapped awake in an instant. Her movements after... He did the hairspray to her. Her movements after that were lightning quick. She jumped up and slid behind the massive body in front of her, which obviously belonged to Itaru, then grabbed his arm and twisted it as she dropped him to the floor. She went to draw the gun at her hip, and her hand swiped through empty air. And then she came back to reality. Her gun was hidden. She wasn't carrying it. This wasn't 2036.
いてててててて
Two cans of Dr. P clattered to the floor. Aww. That must have been what he put on her neck.
何するの父さん。
さっきのお返しだお。
ぼーっとしてたから危うく殺しちゃうとこだったよ。そういう訓練受けてきたんだからシャレじゃ済まないんだって。
わかったから話してくだされ。言いたいでござるの巻。
まったくもう。
Suzuha let her father go. Itaru rubbed his arm and stood up, then grabbed the cans of Dr. P off the floor. He offered one to Suzuha.
つうかさ、諦めんの早すぎだろ。もうちょっと頑張ってみるのだぜ。多分オカリンは疲れて眠ってるだけだから、今みたいに冷たい毒ペでも首筋に当ててやれば飛び起きるんじゃね？なんせほら、あのオカリンだし。
She realized her dad was trying to cheer her up, and nodded. Then she heard footsteps coming up the stairs, and some slightly off-key humming. Their eyes met. Just the sound was enough to tell them who it was.
隠れろ、鈴葉。
オキドキ。
Suzuha moved fast, maybe even faster than when she knocked her father to the ground. She quickly and silently jumped behind the curtain that separated the lab's development room from the rest of it. Just as she hid beneath the desk, there was a knock at the door. Suzuha knew that voice, of course. It was her mom. She could tell from the noises he was making that her... She could tell from the voices... Voices, wow, what the hell? She could tell from the noises he was making that her dad was panicking. There was another knock.
はいはい、今出る。
Itaru went to open the door. Suzuha took a deep breath and concentrated her mind. She remembered the time she spent 3 days and 3 nights on a battlefield with no food and nothing to drink, constantly aiming her rifle at the target. She erased any trace of her presence that could give her She erased any trace of her presence that could give her away. Her breathing started to become shallow. Dad, don't screw this up, okay?
天音、今日はマユシと待ち合わせ？
Wait, what's the she? What's the she, actually? I don't know. Wait, no, the she honorific, isn't it, like the one that... Yeah, no, it's formal writing, yes. She is used in formal writing, and sometimes in very formal speech, for referring to a person who is unfamiliar to the speaker, typically a person known through publications whom the speaker has never actually met. There we go, there we go, that slipped from my mind, I'm sorry. Itaru came back into the room with the girl.
はい、お料理の特訓をすることになっているんですけど。
She could hear plastic bags rustling. She must have brought the ingredients.
マユシ、来てないんだよね。
そうですか。ちょっと来るの早かったかな。
Yuki Amane. Just as the name Amane suggested, she was Suzuha's mother in the future. In other words, the two of them in the other room were supposed to get married.
まあ、約束があるなら、そのうち来るんじゃないかな。
待っていてもいいですか？
もちろん、ここで料理もするんでしょ。
はい、 橋田さんもぜひ味見してくださいね。
マヨシノはあんまり食べたくないよ。
大丈夫ですよ。まゆりちゃんすごく上達してるんですから。
へへ。
Itaru was clearly nervous. As far as Susaha knew, the only girl he acted that way around was Yuki Amane. Susaha and Mayuri were practically family, and he got along with big sis Rumi, Ferris 99, who worked at the maid cafe next door. So it wasn't that he didn't know how to act around girls, but for some reason, he always acted different when she was around. She told him that Yuki would be his wife someday. It was too late to do anything about it now, but maybe that was a mistake, she thought.
今日は妹さんはお留守ですか？
え、あ、うん。
そうですか。
Itaru Hashida's sister was none other than Susaha herself. Around the same time Susaha had started spending all her time in the lab, Yuki had become friends with Mayuri and Itaru, and began visiting more frequently. Which meant that avoiding her was almost impossible, and so she was forced to tell Yuki that she was Itaru's little sister. But still, she wanted to keep contact to a minimum in order to keep Yuki from finding out somehow. That was why she was hiding.
そうそう。どうですこの服。この前買ったんですけど。
Yuki showed no signs of noticing Susaha. She was twirling around in the center of the room, as if she was at a fashion show. Yuki was a cosplayer, and wanted as many people as possible to see her dressed up. Mayuri had told Susaha that once before. In fact, Yuki and Mayuri spent a lot of time complimenting each other's outfits.
うん、いいよ。すごくいい。
本当ですか？
うわー、天使来たこれって感じ。
ありがとうございます。橋田さんもおしゃれしましょうよ。ちょっとだけ痩せれば結構素敵だと思うな。
はははは。
私本気ですよ。
おお。
Itaru Hashida and Yuki Amane. As she listened to their awkward conversation, Susaha remembered the last time she'd said goodbye to her dad. (2036) August 13th, 7:46 in the afternoon, or 1946.
父さん、治安部隊が万世橋まで来てる。
Manseibashi. What is Manseibashi? Manseibashi, one of the bridges on the south side of Akihabara that crosses over the Kondo River. The original Manseibashi was built in a different spot. When new Manseibashi Bridge was built in its current location, the old bridge became known as Old Manseibashi, until it was taken down altogether in 1906. The bridge only came into its current arch shape after several rebuildings, including one after the Great Kanto earthquake. Another thing that the Great Kanto earthquake did was no, I should not make an Umineko joke. I shouldn't. This is Steins Gate. No Umineko. No Umineko. Even though I played it for a week straight, no Umineko.
ということは、ここが発見されるのも時間の問題かな。あらかじめ流しておいた偽の情報も効果なかったか。
急ごう。
おう、開けるぞ。
すごい。こんなところに扉があったなんて。これなら誰にも見つからないね。
さあ、中へ。
ここって。
The room was almost totally empty and covered from top to bottom in soundproofing materials. Not only there were no windows, there wasn't even a door to the hallway. The building they were in was once a symbol of old Akihabara, before it was almost entirely destroyed by an air raid during the last days of the Third World War. Only a few people knew about the secret room inside it. The biggest reason was its secret. The silhouette of what looked like a satellite, sitting in the corner.
これタイムマシンだよね。これがタイムマシン。
かがり、危ないからあんまり近づくな。
Suzuha spoke to the little girl, clutching Mayuri's hand. Most of the children in this era had skin inflammation somewhere on their body from all the radioactive rain, but she didn't. Her name was Kagari Shina. Her registration form said she was 10 years old, but no one knew if that was true. She was an orphan who'd lost her parents in the Tokyo-era raids when she was a baby, and nobody even knew her birthday. The name Kagari had been given to her by Mayuri, who was working at the child welfare center that had taken her in. She took it from the word Kage Ribi, meaning bonfire, and hoped that she could be a light even in these dark days. It had been 4 years since Mayuri had adopted her, and her name on the registration form had become Kagari Shina.
綺麗だね、ママ。そうね。
Suzuha mentioned for the Shinas to step back and put her right hand and right eye up to the time machine sensor. The biometrics check cleared and the hatch slid open. Biometrics. What does biometrics mean? The use of fingerprints, voice recognition, vein, not vine, vein-iris scanning, etc. instead of password. Vine scanning, yes. Vine scanning. She went inside and fastened herself into the seat.
これほど長時間の有人ジャンプは初めてだが、技術的には全く問題ない。これまでのテストジャンプ通りやればいいからな。
オキドキ。
Suzuha began to flip switches, working her way through the startup procedure. She'd practiced it hundreds of times in preparation for this day. The faint rumble from the machine began to get louder.
データによれば、昔のラジカンはちょうどこの場所が屋上になってる。ただし、高さが1メートルほどずれてるからな。着地するときに衝撃があると思う。
了解。
The time machine could move through time, but not space. To arrive at the radio building more than 60 years in the past, she needed to launch from right here.
トラブルが起きても冷静にな。トレーニングを思い出せばいい。
大丈夫だよ。私は父さんのマシンを信じてるから。
Her words must have meant a lot to him, because he stuck out his lips towards her. She squished them back with her hand.
気持ち悪い。
悲しいな。鈴葉は父さんが嫌いかい。
父さんがやるとなんか下心があるみたいだから。
いくらなんでも娘相手に下心なんてねえよ。
最近母さんに似てきたハスハスとか言ってたのはどこの誰？
Her mother wasn't here. She'd become a victim of the war, brutally killed by the peacekeeping squads.
冗談を真に受けないでくれたまえ。
なんだ、冗談だったの？
Suzuha's voice sounded kind of disappointed. She set the designation for August 13th, 1975. Her first mission was there.
これでよし。それじゃあ父さん、マヨ姉さん。
She was about to say her goodbyes, but then Suzuha drew her gun from her holster. She was about to get out of the time machine, but her dad stopped her.
ダメだ、さっさと飛べ。
でも父さんたちが。
俺たちのことはいい。早く行け、鈴葉。
そんな、だって。
マヤシ、係ちゃんを。このマシンにはもう一人乗れる。
Mayuri and Suzuha's father picked up the stunned Kagari and stuffed her into the time machine.
すずちゃん、係をお願い。わかった。
If Suzuha's mission succeeded, the world line would be rebuilt, and it was likely that the present Kagare would cease to exist. It might have been pointless to send her, but even so, a mother wants her child to live. That's how Suzuha's mom was too.
ママ
Kagari finally seemed to understand what was going on. She called out to her mom.
やだよ大丈夫だよ係ちゃんすずちゃんが一緒だからねダメママも一緒じゃなきゃダメ過去へ行けば昔のママがいるよ今よりずーっと若くて係ちゃんびっくりするだろうな
Mayuri handed Kagari a tiny keychain. It looked old. It may have been a brightly colored green It may have been a brightly colored green once, but now it was completely faded.
ママがずっと大切にしてきたウーパのキーホルダーだよ係ちゃんにあげる大事にしてね
What is a Upa? Upa, fictional, the mascot character of the Rainek Kakeru anime, a dog-like virtual pet with an egg-shaped cylindrical body and short, stubby arms and legs. Comes in many different colors. It can't talk, but it can communicate by crying Upa or Upa! That's an Upa. Once it was pressed firmly into Kagari's hand, she stepped back. Mary was smiling, but weeping at the same time.
いや行きたくないママと一緒にいるママダメ係おとなしくしてなさい
Kagari fell silent immediately. Even Suzuha had never heard Mayuri use that tone of voice. That's how harshly she scolded her daughter. Kagari was quietly weeping, unmoving.
閉めるぞ。
This time, the hatch really did begin to close. The inside of the machine and the outside of it. The two worlds were about to be completely cut off from one another. Whether Suzuha's mission was successful or not, she would probably never see any of them again.
すずちゃん本当に係をお願いねあとオカリーに伝えてシュタインズゲートは必ずあるって
絶対に諦めるな、大バカ野郎ってな。
Okie dokie.
And then, the door was sealed shut, and Mayuri and Itaru's voices disappeared, along with the chaos outside.
父さん、大好き。
She whispered towards the door, now sealed. God damn it. She whispered towards the door, now sealed shut.
行くよ、係。かっこいい。
She booted up the time machine. And they went back to the past.
橋田さん、掃除機はどこ？
Susa snapped back into reality. Yuki was getting closer to the element room she was hiding in. Alright, let's try this again. Yuki was getting closer to the element room she was hiding in. There we go.
そのカーテンの危な！
この奥？
僕が持ってくるよ。
Itaru motioned for her to stop, and then quickly slid into the room. As he reached down to pick the vacuum off the floor, his gaze locked with Suzuha's as she hid under the desk.
バレないようにしてよ、父さん。
オーキートーキー。
ありましたか？掃除機。
Evidently, Yuki was trying to be nice by cleaning up. The place was pretty messy right now. Knowing Yuki's personality, Suzuha could imagine she'd want to clean it. Itaru grabbed what looked like a vacuum cleaner off the floor and left the element room.
何ですか？それ。
未来ガジェット5号機。
Future gadget number 5. And it is... Once again, I've made a worthless object by Goemon. Future gadget number 5. The future gadget of your dreams, made by connecting a dryer in a vacuum. It uses the exhaust from the vacuum in the dryer. The name comes from the famous anime about a phantom thief, Lupin III. Lupin III. I need to see Lupin. I've not seen Lupin yet. I really need to see Lupin. I'll get to Lupin sometime.
分解すれば普通の掃除機として使えるはず。
お掃除するための掃除機なのに、分解したらかえって散らかすことになりません？橋田さんって頭がいいのに時々うっかりなことしますよね。
そうかな。
でもそういう人の方が私好きだな。
なんだと
Itaru started to panic again, and Suzuha sighed.
ただ生活については見直した方がいいと思うんです。お部屋の掃除はできれば毎日した方がいいですよ。ここ特に埃っぽいですし。それだけじゃありません。食事のこともそうです。今日もカップ麺だったんでしょ？
なんで知ってるん？
お台所に食べ残したまま放置されてます。
なるほど。
それにお菓子もこんなにたくさん。食べ過ぎだっていつも言ってるのに。
一応気をつけてはいるのだぜ。
一応じゃダメです。あんまりカップ麺やお菓子ばかり食べてると病気になっちゃいますよ。あと少しは運動すること。
Yuki Amane was saying the exact same thing that Suzuha had just said. Perhaps they really were mother and child. Suzuha was just beginning to feel a little homesick when she sensed another visitor approaching. Yoshi! The door to the lab opened, and a greeting she'd heard many times before resounded throughout the room.
ごめんね、ゆきさん。ちょっと遅れちゃった。
She took off her hat when she entered the room. That's adorable. It was Mayuri, coming to see Yuki. But there was another presence there too.
まゆりちゃん、こんにちは。岡部さんも一緒だったんですね。
オカリ、久しぶりじゃん。
This is the first time I've seen Okabe, you know, in the frame of something. As like a character with a character sprite. This is the first time I've seen this in Steins Gate. Well, is it me, or does he just seem slightly out of place, though? I don't know, his sprite looks so out of place. It's weird seeing him.
ああ、久しぶり。
When she heard his voice, Suzuha ground her teeth a little. And we're back to Okabe. Oh. I guess I have to end this episode right here, right now. I'm at my time limit for today, so thank you everybody for watching. Kyube, don't grab my cord. But yes, I'm at my time limit for today, so I have to sadly end this video right here, right now. So
OK OK。